Hello, hello, hello. How are you, world? I am Wendy. This is my channel, Holistic and Well. I'm so glad that you are here. We talk about and cultivate better health through herbalism, intentional wellness, and self-healing. So with everything going on in the world right now, I thought it would be really important and advantageous for folks for us to talk about anxiety and the fact that it is here. We all probably have a heightened anxiety right now. And what are some skills that we can practice and we can learn that we can utilize on a daily basis that will help us manage that anxiety in a more realistic way? I got a little bit of sage going, because remember, sage also cleans the air. Does it kill the coronavirus? I don't know. But anywho, we're gonna have it going. So some ideas and some skills on how to reduce anxiety. As a therapist and someone who has chronic anxiety, these are skills that I use on a daily basis. These are skills that I share with clients and encourage them to use as well because they do work. So let's get into it. First and foremost is to honor your emotions. What does that mean? That means claim that shit. Honor it. Be able to say, I am frustrated, I am overwhelmed, I am scared, I am pissed off, I am angry. Whatever it is that's going on, name it and claim it. Allow it to run its course through you, and then you're able to move on. When you begin to just push it down, that's when the body begins to revolt, and you have that extra cortisol running around because you don't know if you should fight or if you should run. Fight, run, fight, run. What am I supposed to do? But if you honor your emotions, you allow them to come through, you call them what they are, and just validate it, then it doesn't last as long. And you're not creating this stacked up pile of emotions that you haven't dealt with yet. And I promise you, if you're somebody that pushes your emotions down, you know that eventually you will have to deal with those emotions. Being able to understand and acknowledge that emotions are short term. They do not last forever. And I say that with ease, but it's taken me a long time to not live in my emotional state and instead live in my logical state and allowing the emotions to come in at times. Because if we live in our emotional state all the time, then we live in a place of fear and impulsivity and all these different things that cause and have ramifications for other things. So understanding that emotions are like bad gas. They will pass. Whether they're wonderful feelings of love and excitement, those pass too, down to feeling anxiety or fear around a virus that is in our community. It will pass as well. Make sure you remind yourself of that, is that it will pass. 2, if you don't already have a self-care routine in, this is a really great time for you to develop one or nurture the self-care routine that you already have in place. So let's talk about what is self-care and how do we do that. First and foremost, self-care is generally going to be fun, enjoyable things because you are doing things for you that you enjoy. This is a really great time to maybe experiment and get into some things that you haven't ordinarily dealt with or done. Create a self-care bucket list. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to paint or to draw, or maybe you've always wanted to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, or I don't know, weld. There's all kinds of different things that different people enjoy and find enjoyable. So create a self-care bucket list where you begin to do those things as you're able and as you can afford to take care of yourself. Self-care isn't just about massages and manis and pedis. There's a lot of things that can be considered self-care. I actually will put a couple links in the description box to give you some ideas of how to begin that self-care bucket list. Journal about what's going on in your world right now. Journal about those feelings that you're honoring right now. And don't let the concept of journaling feel overwhelming or feel like a chore. Journaling is done in a many different ways. There's people that doodle and draw as they're journaling. There's people that write emotions down. There's people that write full sentences. And then there's people that write paragraphs. Journaling is a very personal experience, so don't allow that to be overwhelming. I will also put some prompts in the description box that will help you begin to explore and journal about what you're feeling at the moment. Another really great self-care tool is reading. Reading allows you to just escape the here and now and go to another place. And considering we have some social distancing going on, you can be all in your mind and be in that world that you're reading about. And with all of the audiobooks and the ebooks that are out there, and there's free ones on the library website, that is a great option, even for the kids. Tip 3 is going to be huge. It is a practice of gratitude. I think that we all feel that we're grateful, but are we being intentionally grateful? That's what you have to ask yourself. Meaning, am I paying attention, or am I just sporadically grateful for certain things? And again, this is a practice that you want to make fun, and the family can be brought into it. A way to incorporate that with kids is to utilize the alphabet or numbers. So tell me something that you're grateful for that starts with the letter A. Maybe that's your crisp, fresh apple that you had for lunch, and being able to talk about the fact that not everyone has access to those apples, and that the flavor was good, and I like to cut it up and have peanut butter on it versus just biting into it. Having those discussions with your kids will also help them create a practice of gratitude. Another great family fun way to incorporate intentional gratitude is to create a gratitude jar or a basket where every family member maybe has a different color or piece of paper, and they write down what they're grateful for. And maybe that's something that you do as a family event on a Saturday night in lieu of going to the movies or going where you wouldn't ordinarily go that you can't go right now, is that you go through those pieces of paper and you all talk about the gratitude that you've had for the week. Maybe you do it over Sunday brunch as you're all cooking breakfast. Again, make it fun and make it intentional, and not only are you helping to alleviate stress, but you're also teaching a really great life skill to the younger members of your family. Let's talk about abundance and deficit. So this concept is that when you think and you feel that you are deserving and that you have everything you need at that moment, versus being in a place of deficit of focusing on what you don't have and what you think you might need in the future, it's different energies. And when you focus on what I have right now is enough, it puts that energy out in the world and that comes back to you. Just as if you're focusing on what I don't have and it's a deficit, that's what focuses on and it comes back to you. So make sure that you're practicing this concept of abundance versus deficit. It helps your brain to reframe, and reframing events and emotions is a very useful skill set. 4, and this is probably the one that's the most important. Right now, we feel out of control with a lot of things, too many to even name. So it's important to be able to focus on what you do have control over. And as someone that's a type A personality, I'm all about those lists, baby. So one thing that I do and I encourage clients to do is to write down lists of things that I have control over and a list of things I don't have control over. And I promise you, as you begin to write that list, you're going to find that your list of things that you have control over is going to be a lot longer than those that you don't have control over. But with the world that we live in, and fear is always something that is nurtured in our society, we live in that place of I don't have control. You really do. Be a type A personality for 10 minutes, write those lists out, and then if you need to, post them. Post them so you can remind yourself if you're having a moment and you're fearful and you are not thinking rationally, or you're not being able to sort through your thoughts, go to that list of what you have control over, what you don't have control over, And I promise you, it's going to bring you some peace, because then you can focus on, you know what, I have control over how clean my house is. So maybe I go vacuum, or I have control over my self-care. So I go pick something off my self-care bucket list that I do, versus focusing on what you don't have control over. The last one, it's not really a tip, it's just kind of a reminder, is that keep in mind that our children and our pets are going to pick up on our anxiety, even if we're not acknowledging it and honoring it. And so that's going to change behaviors of children, and it's going to make pets either more clingy, possibly more aggressive. And so remember, you as the adult in the household are the steward of maintaining balance and making sure that if your kids are struggling with behaviors, or maybe they're more emotional than normal, is that they don't know how to name and talk about what's going on inside. When I was in Springfield with family, one of my younger cousins was really struggling because of information that had been shared at school. And it was really good information, but it also was kind of fueling that anxiety monster. And there was some anxiety when he came home from school one day last week. So we just kind of talked through what things look like and reminded him that he was safe and that he was well taken care of. And so our kids and our animals also flourish, and either flourish or take a nosedive depending on what our mood and our anxiety level is. So that's not really a tip, it's just a reminder. Anywho, that's kind of it for today. Being able to talk about your anxiety, honoring those emotions, taking care of yourself, practicing gratitude, and remembering that you do have control over quite a bit in your world. Those are all going to be things that will help you weather the storm. So that's it for today. I hope that you've enjoyed the content. Give me a thumbs up. Give me some subscribe action. And hey, if there's anyone out there that's struggling, they feel like they want to chat with someone, I'm always available. You can email me, you can direct message me, send me, put me a comment down below. We all have to support each other right now, and the way that I can support you is to be an ear for you. It's not bothering me. It's not too much for me. So if you need anything, you have questions or concerns, please reach out. I am available to chat. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you've chosen to be here with me hanging out. I super, super appreciate you. I hope you have a phenomenal week. Take care of yourself, and until then, you be holistic and well. Bye-bye.